this episode, the complete trio is back, and they sit down with Jason C. from the Mash and Drum to drink some Wild Turkey products and discuss some Thanksgiving traditions. Find out more on this episode of The Bourbon Hunters. But before we get started, do you want to support our podcast? Do you like bourbon gear? Visit our website at www.bourbonhunters.com to buy some of our custom bourbon gear and support the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on our hunt for great bourbon. Reward yourself and sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of the Bourbon Hunters. I'm Duke Poor. I'm joined by
Brett Bryan
and
Tyler C.
Wow. And then we've also got as a special treat
Jason C.
from the Mash and Drum.
It's been a minute since all four of us were on the show.
It has been.
I know.
I feel like Jason's been filling in a lot for Tyler.
Yeah. The quality of the show has gone up tremendously.
You're right.
Is that why the views are so much higher?
And Tyler still doesn't understand how podcasts work.
The views.
So, happy Thanksgiving.
I just picked up.
Happy
the
Thanksgiving.
views on the podcast was
Right.
just amazing.
People are watching the shit out of it. Which they can actually do when I post it through Podbean. If you put it in the stylish mode, it makes a video out of it and puts it to YouTube for you. Yeah. So I guess you do get a potential to watch our logo for an hour.
It's your logo. I was like, is it just make AI animation?
No, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That would be cool. So
developers, if you're listening.
Yeah, definitely. So we're doing a Happy Thanksgiving episode. This is coming out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we thought, as always, we'd talk turkey and do some wild turkey Russell kind of stuff. And then we've also got a little bit of a we'll call it a surprise at the end of all this.
I was got to bring something.
Well, yeah, and when I saw that, I'm like, what the hell is that? I didn't realize that was actually what it was. So, So cool. So stay tuned for that. That'll be the last thing we taste into. What's the proof on that?
I don't remember. I think it's 100 and it's in the 100-ish.
Okay, so it's fine if we finish with it. Okay,
yeah.
So we'll finish with that, and stay tuned for that. That is in the same vicinity, ballpark as everything else we're tasting today.
That's right.
So
happy gobble day.
Yeah. So let's prime up with a little bit of Wild Turkey 101. I haven't had anything yet to drink today, which it's only noon, so that's fine. All right. Brett, what have you been up to, buddy? I know today there was a pretty bad accident today. Did you have to do anything with that? I heard you talking a little bit.
No, I did not, thankfully. That was a very tragic incident that happened 170 near Licking County. Yeah, there was a school bus that got hit by a tractor trailer, but
holy crap.
Yeah, it was really, really tragic. It was high school kids. Unfortunately, they were on like a band trip or something. Very, very unfortunate. But on a brighter note, because I don't want to dwell on that.
Right, yeah. Way to start, Brett. Good job.
You asked me. You're the one that brought it up. Nothing too exciting going on for me. I'm going to Chicago right after Thanksgiving, so I'm really looking forward to going to Benny's. I've never been there, so I know, Tyler, you were there recently.
Yeah, I didn't have great luck.
It's disappointing to hear.
Yeah.
There was something I thought you saw that was decent.
Yeah, the Four Roses kit they had, or not the kit, but
the Four Roses
tasting.
There you go.
10 recipe
kits. What else did they have? One of them had a Henry McKenna tenure in that.
Well, shoot,
in that day.
he'll grab that if he sees it.
Yeah, I mean,
but they also had a bunch of other. They had some like old elk special releases,
like barrel picks or something.
I think so.
Man, I always forget how good Wild Turkey 101 is.
Yeah, it is. So I'm on the hunt for.
You need more?
Another Kentucky Spirit.
Yeah, what is this? Is this for a
baby? Baby? Well, I didn't get the nipples out, but I was. It's a primer, man. It's a primer.
I like a little. Okay, that's good.
Oh, well, now it's good.
There you go.
That's a good.
It was Tyler's. I didn't want to, cash his bottle. So
I mean, they're hard to come by.
Well, I mean, that one doesn't exist anymore. That's the old bottle.
Yeah, this is the
older they get, the less they exist, typically.
Are we talking about people?
Just anyone. Anything.
Wow, Tyler, the amount of depth he brings to this podcast is it just
the older they get, the less
it surprises me every time.
That should be on a Bourbon Hunters t-shirt or something. The older they get, the less they exist. It's like, wait, what?
And there's a little tombstone on the back. Like, no, nothing else.
And then we could also put on the back of that shirt the what's his phrase? Often wrong, never in doubt.
Yeah.
If you could actually spell out the sound he always makes, that like put that on a shirt, like pop, like pop, like I don't know what that would be.
I think there's like some P's and a T. Like,
yeah,
It's like POIWT maybe.
yeah, POIWT, and then on the bottom just put a dash and write Tyler, and then Bourbon Hunters on the back.
That's good.
That'd be a good
I like
shirt.
that.
Yeah.
All right,
I'd
so
wear that.
Tyler, what are you up to, buddy?
Just traveling.
Yeah, where were
Traveling.
you?
Been in Mexico. Been in Chicago.
What are you in Mexico for?
Work
Really?
in the interior. It was
cartel.
nice. It
You know.
was a good time. I enjoyed it
So you
more than I
guys,
thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys missed Brett and I were on the Black and Brown
Oh, yeah.
podcast. That was fun.
That was a good
last week,
time.
yeah.
I gotta listen to that. How'd that
Yeah,
go?
it was good.
It was really good. So they do
You were
something.
a topic of that, a decent topic of that.
Cool.
They do something I've never heard is what do you get on the ear? So when you're drinking something and you know you're a drummer, so music, I feel like you can relate to this. Like, what does it remind you of? Like, what song do you kind of feel or vibe when you're drinking it? I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like that idea.
It's their
Yeah,
their little hook, you know.
kind of sprang that on Nancy Fraley when she was on the show once.
Okay.
Because she said she's so into music. She plays drums, plays guitar. She's a huge magician. I don't know if you knew that about
What?
Nancy Fraley.
She's a magician?
I'm sorry. Is that what I said?
I think that's what you
You
said.
did say magician.
Musician.
I thought you said magician.
I
was
think
like,
he did.
I
say
think I
magician.
did say magician.
like she's fucking
I'm
pulling
like-
out card tricks and stuff.
I'm like saying it like, in the back of my head. I'm like, I hope nobody caught that.
I was so
She's like
excited.
blending whiskey, and then she's like, pick a card.
And then she pulls a rabbit out of the whiskey. It's
Right.
crazy.
Dude, I've only been here for 5 minutes and he's already losing brain cells.
Yeah, you have that effect on everyone.
I
Tyler.
know.
Yeah, no, musician.
Okay,
And, I sprang on her when she was on the show. I was because she's really, she loves drummers, and we were talking about drummers and our favorites of all time. So I'm like, all right. So I gave her Stuart Copeland from The Police, Neil Peart from Rush. We got into Mike Portnoy and all these different drummer names, and I'm like, if you had to pick a whiskey that reminded you of that particular drummer, like what would it be?
No, that's
And
kind of
cool.
We kind of did this back and forth. It's kind of cool to do. Then then you're really thinking about the types of whiskeys and how it correlates to a musician, not a magician, a guitarist, like stuff like that.
We should do a magician episode. I don't
Make
know
this
that I
bourbon
can-
disappear.
No, I mean, which magician does this remind you of? It's gone.
That's the case. We're doing tricks every
Right.
time. So
All right.
So how was Mexico?
I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, you went there for work though.
Yeah.
You weren't like in a resort, or were you?
No, I've been there once at a resort, but I mean, it's just, I don't know that you really feel like you're, in the country when you're on the resort. They have some ambiances about them that are, local, but I really liked it. A lot nicer than I thought was Guadalajara. That was a fantastic area.
Yeah.
I will say that's true though. Like when you're in a resort, you don't feel like you're in that
Yeah.
country necessarily. I mean, minus maybe the help that's there, that's working and stuff.
Yep.
That'll remind you, obviously. But that is pretty true. Like whenever I go down there, you're like all the bells and whistles of like almost like an American hotel, And I think they do that on purpose to make people want to, come. But
It feels safe, right?
well,
That's a whole
that
big
too,
thing.
yeah, that's a sure. And it is something they do. Like when you check into those hotels, and it was the same way in Bali too. Like in Bali, they actually went one step further, and they used the mirrors on the bottom of the thing that it's like a large version of what the dentist puts in your mouth.
Yeah.
And they look underneath of the bus and everything as you come in and out because
Damn.
there's a lot of terrorism in Bali.
Yeah.
Bali is a like 99%, or I should say Indonesia is like a 99% Muslim country. And Bali is the only part of it that's like 99% Buddhist or something, or 70% Buddhist or something, and Christian is the other part of it. So they actually have a lot of terrorists that are like extremists or something, trying to basically kind of keep people out. Is their idea. But that's the only place that really gets that type of stuff. Is so they have to, at all the resorts, they do the mirrors under all the cars and stuff when they come in. But yeah, Mexico's the same way. Like they check who's coming in, they check your IDs and see if you're actually a guest.
Yeah.
So at least they did where I stay. I don't know if yours did that or not, like at a guest house or like
No.
a guardhouse.
No, and honestly, most of the time I was with my local coworkers, and they were fantastic. They drove everywhere.
Yeah.
The only times that I would leave the hotel were in the morning. I would go across the street to the basically convenience store and get a Monster.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They didn't have that in the hotel.
No, they didn't have any.
It'd
of
have been
that.
cheaper too. Across
I
the
mean,
street
they
for
had
sure.
they had coffee,
Probably.
but yeah, I mean, stuff there is like
Monster.
it's like $1. You
You know
know,
how people drink that shit.
yeah.
I
I
don't,
don't
know.
like it either.
It's what maybe it didn't have Monster, maybe it was Red Bull, but either way, it's like the only form of
Changing the
caffeine.
story now.
It's the only other form of caffeine there. There's no other option besides that and coffee, which isn't a bad choice, but especially like afternoons or something like that, and they have a longer work day.
Yeah.
They typically don't go into work until 9 o'clock, but then they work till like 6 or 7.
How do you
Which is-
do
it's like-
in interrogations? Do you change your story a lot when they're interrogating you?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Oh, okay, it's fine. Well, you started off with a monster. Well, maybe it wasn't a monster. After he didn't like monster. Well, maybe it wasn't a monster. Maybe it was.
Well,
a Red
it's just
Bull.
one of the two biggest energy
drinks?
drink companies. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just one of those two. I don't remember. I could have had both. One at different places.
I got you.
I'm
But-
going to talk about our primer real fast.
Yeah, go for it.
I think Wild Turkey 101 is a sleeper for
Yeah.
a lot of people. I think it's something they pass up on the shelf, and that was delicious, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That was.
and I need.
I haven't had it in a while, to be honest with you, because it's another one I pass up on the shelf.
Yeah, and same because you know you can always get it. There's no rush to like, oh, I better replace that.
Oh,
Holy, that's why we can't have nice things. I guess I'll use that glass.
almost kicked Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you pass up because there's no rush. You don't feel like any urgency to have to get it. But yeah, it's something I always try to keep in my bar. But I was looking today. I was like, we're going to do turkey. I went in there. I was like, oh, shit, I don't have Rare Breed. I don't have 101. I'm like, what's going on here? It's amateur hour. It's like,
Really, you didn't have
Rare
you didn't-
Breed's
You
so
didn't have
fucking
a
good,
you didn't have a
too.
rare breed.
I cashed them both. The last
Yeah.
3 months, I've been trying to kill bottles to make room for the trip, you know?
I'm not saying for everybody, but I think for a lot of people, rare breed can go head to head with a lot of the big name bourbons.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
So
a lot more bottles way above its price point.
Yeah.
It's just so good like that.
I don't have a bottle at home, but that's only because typically when I go to a bar, they have that at the most reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And if I don't want to spend and try something new, that it's always my go-to, and it's like $10 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they just redesigned the bottle. They just
Oh, have they?
released it.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen the redesign of the bottle.
Yeah.
Do you like it better than Russell's Reserve Single Barrel?
Shelfer.
Man,
Shelfers, yeah.
It changes for me though. It sometimes like if you watch my top available bourbons, like every year I either have like Wild Turkey Rare Breed on it or Russell's Reserve Single Barrel on it. It's like one or the other. Because I do this rule like I can't pick I've got to pick 5, but they can't be from the same distiller.
That's fair.
So what is it? So it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
And I think this year I've drank a lot more Russell's picks because the new warehouses that have hit have been so interesting.
Yeah.
But in years where there's like last year, when there was a lot of A's and B's floating around, I ventured towards Rare Breed more than the Russell's picks.
What's the when you pick those shelf or whatever availables, you never go for the 10-year?
I don't like the 10-year
I'm
personally.
not a big fan of it either.
No, 10-year is probably the most polarizing Wild Turkey bottle that I've ever talked about with folks. If you talk to a couple people that are Wild Turkey fans, they wax poetic about Russell's 10-year, how great it is, and how it's the best value, and blah blah blah. And to some degree, I agree with them. But there's something about Russell's 10-year to me that's just missing.
It falls flat for me.
I did this whole
Flat. That's not a long finish. It's flat.
I did this
agree.
whole ranking on my live stream. I ranked every Wild Turkey bottle I had, like blind. And I gave it like a rating of 1 turkeys to 5 turkeys. 5 being the best, 1 being like in the middle, like
I
1
didn't
being the
find
worst.
this episode.
Yeah, it was fun. I did it completely on a live stream over like 2 weeks. And when Russell's 10-year came up, I gave it a 2 after I tried it blind. I'm like, I'd give this around a 2 when I kind of revealed what it was. I was pretty shocked. I was like, oh my God, this is Russell's 10-year. I normally thought I would rate it better than it was. And I was asking, so part of the episode was I did a poll in the chat. I'm like, you guys tell me, am I on the right track giving it a 2? Should it be a 3 because of the price, the value to taste? What do you think? Everybody, I would say 90% of the chat was like, you keep it at a 2 because that thing is flat, which is the word that you just described it.
It is. Yeah. It is flat. And to me, you're right. It feels like it's missing something, and that might be because it doesn't have a long finish. Maybe it just doesn't, or even a medium finish. It just disappears.
It just misses that thing I love about Wild Turkey, the spice and the viscosity of it that I get sometimes.
Yeah.
And just that, I don't know, that balance of flavors that I'm so used to. I'd rather drink Wild Turkey 101, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And 101 is a blend of 6, 7, and 8 year bourbon, so we're not talking about far off from the 10 year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but there's something better about it.
Jason, is Wild Turkey your favorite distillery, top to bottom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hands down.
I figured as much, but I didn't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, I mean, if you could put Heaven Hill, I love, but they have so many different products. It's hard not to find something you're gonna like.
Yeah,
Heaven Hill's.
Michter's.
There's so many.
I do love Michter's a lot. Even the core brand stuff. Yeah, it's harder to get. It's a little bit more rare to get fine, decent stuff from Michter's. But I just think the quality and the stuff that they do is awesome.
Yeah.
I would say Wild Turkey has probably always been my favorite, and I think it still continues, even though, this year they did a lot of crazy releases that were, very, very high priced. And,
what did they do besides the Generations that was high priced? What else?
Well, the Rickhouse, the Camp Nelson Rickhouse series, those are $300 bottles.
Yeah.
But that started last year.
Right.
Russell's 13 went up to $150, but that's really hard to find anyway. Master's Keep Voyage went up to $300.
Damn. Voyage, I forgot about Voyage.
There's just been a lot of high-priced bottles the last couple of years.
I liked Voyage surprisingly.
I haven't had it.
I would say this. I think Voyage is the best rum-finished bourbon I've ever had.
Yeah.
However, just the price
for
$300, I'm like, there's too many other rum-finished
I had it
options
when
out there.
I had it with Bo when I went there. And it wasn't Generations. It was like single Rick House and whatever they charge for it there. He was like, try Voyage. And he's like, do you like rum finish? And I'm like, not usually. And I'm like, but I'll give it a go. Had it, and I surprisingly liked it.
Yeah.
Again, for the price of the bottle, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then you, but the thing, again, I think like Wild Turkey has the issue that, distillers like Heaven Hill and Jim Beam have. There's some of those older, grandfather and heritage distillers, and they have so many great value products that when they do release something that's super high priced, you're really kind of questioning like, where is that coming from?
Yeah.
And when you could get Russell's Reserve picks between 9 and 11 years old for $70 to $80 now I think they've been going up to more closer to $80, maybe $90. But man, you compare that to like, a Master's Keep Voyage, which I think the oldest whiskey in that was 10, 11 years old.
Well, I think you can get 3 good Russell Reserves picks for the same price as one Master's Keep Voyage.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you in that same
So
boat.
it's a tough value
Balance,
prop.
yeah.
So it's just like,
And good on Wild Turkey though for also being able to put out such good single barrels that they stack up against your best stuff.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, and the best thing I love about they have 2 mash bills, just 2.
Yeah.
Not 4, not 5, not 6, not Secret, not Tornado, not all this bullshit. They have 2.
Who is that directed at?
They have 2. They have 2 mash bills that they do all these different products with, and I think that's the thing that I love the most.
Too.
2.
The variants.
Yeah.
But
2.
3 if you count the rye, right?
Yeah.
No, 1 is the rye.
So they have a rye mash bill and 1 bourbon mash bill? That's
it.
Okay. All right, then.
That's it.
Yeah. Dude.
And they don't have a wheat product, right?
They don't have a weeder.
So, I mean,
which would be interesting to
hold
kind of
on.
see Wild Turkey do a weeder.
take a step back. Then Buffalo Trace only has them by 1. I mean, they have a weeder, so that doesn't count because they don't have a weeder. They've got 2 bourbons
2 bourbon mash bills
and a rye.
And the rye mash bill.
So they only have 1 more, plus the weeder.
Yeah, but how many experimental stuff do they release?
So what?
That's still a different mash bill.
But I mean,
You don't see Turkey
some
doing
of
that.
them aren't like all those oak projects aren't different mash bills.
No, they're not.
They're just different oak expressions or whatever.
The Weller, the new Weller was a different Emmer wheat thing.
Yeah. Okay.
They do some experimental stuff. All the recent, not all, but some of the recent.
I don't mind
Colonel
experimental
Taylor.
stuff.
I don't mind experimental either. I would actually like to see Wild Turkey experiment more.
Yeah.
Like I would be like fascinated to see what a weeder
What
from
their
them would taste like.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I'm not saying they have to do one.
That's all.
But
That
it
was
would be
my
cool.
step back and
4 grain wild turkey.
You know what we should do?
Big
And I
four
think it'd be,
grain, yeah.
Ooh,
I think it'd be
jeez.
pretty easy.
They do have a 4. They did. Well, they did they did release a 4 grain.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's under the Colonel Taylor. They also did the.
No, he means wild turkey doing a 4 grain.
Yeah.
Oh, Wild Turkey.
Yeah,
four
well,
grain.
yeah, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
We should do, because it's right around that time, and I think it would be pretty easy for like us and add maybe 2 more people. Is do an advent calendar with our own bottles.
With
Like,
like
you know,
your own
if
little,
there's 6
like,
of us doing it, we have 4 bottles. We have 6 of each, and or we could have 5 and 5.
Dude, that Kentucky Spirit's good. Who picked that?
I remember this because there were 2 picks of yours, this Kentucky Spirit, and dude grabbed one and I grabbed one, and I think mine was way better. No offense, because this is the one that
This
has
is
like
fantastic.
a little bubblegum note in it, if I remember correctly. Like,
So,
Well,
interesting story about this one. This was supposed to be a Russell's pick.
oh
I
shit.
remember
And then when they
telling me
went
that.
when
Yeah.
they went into the barrel, they realized the proof was too low. They couldn't make it a Russell's.
So they made
So,
it a Kentucky
so they
Spirit.
had to, and it was like right on the cusp. But you're looking at like 108, 107 proof. So they had to proof it down to
Yeah.
100. And yeah, I agree. I think when we first tried that, it was more of like a cherry ginger ale type thing right out of the cask. And I think them proofing it down definitely changed up the flavors a little bit than what we remembered. So we were a little bummed about that.
Well, we also put that up against one that I bought in the shop with Tyler our first time there that Russell signed.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And
I had that. I think I was.
that's
up
the
for that.
one that won.
Yeah.
Of all the
yeah,
wild
well,
turkey,
But that was probably one of the older ones.
it
wasn't
was,
Yeah.
but it was lighter colored. It didn't look like it was going to be as good.
Yeah.
And I had never opened it because it had a signature on the bottom. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to open it.
Yeah.
And it was outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good.
And
I remember
it's
that.
still back there. I mean,
That's awesome.
I drink from it every so often. In fact, I had some last night, actually. Just to get ready for this episode.
Yeah, but when we released that Where's Jimmy, man, I got more messages about that bottle than I did about the Russells. People went crazy for that bottle.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, it is good. I'm drinking it now. Still is. Still is good.
Hey, man, first week of December, our turkey picks.
Is that when it? Oh, right before our trip.
Nice.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. You can't really.
Can't really control that one.
I was
Right.
curious when that was coming out.
First week of December.
Looks like I'll be doing some overtime to get all these
I
things.
know. I'm like, I'll have to be doing some. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Well, you at least don't have to wait to fight people to get it. You'll have access to it.
Right. With all the unemployment money I have. All right, guys. So we've got this Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit now. This is a 101 proof, so it's basically the single barrel version of a Wild Turkey 101. This one is called Where's Jimmy? This was done by Mash and Journey. I wasn't with you on this one.
Nope.
And what's the story? You guys, Jimmy wasn't there, so you...
No, the story went for this one that this was the first year I actually finally met Jimmy.
Okay.
And I ended up calling it Where's Jimmy was because when I got there, everyone was telling me that, hey, he's here. And I basically must have said, "Where's Jimmy?" about 100 times, because like all the previous times I had made the pilgrimage to Wild Turkey, I would always like either just miss him or this day he's not here, and it drove me nuts. So when I got on, because I was on the way, and then Bo messaged me, he goes, "Hey, Jimmy's here." I was like, "Oh my God, get there!" And so we get there, and I get there, I'm like, "Where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy?" I'm just like walking around, "Where's Jimmy?" And then finally, like, dude, I think he just walked into the gift shop. So I went in there, and then just there he was eating a plate of barbecue.
That's like the first time we ever went to Wild Turkey. It was
Yeah.
the old visitor center. He was just sitting there,
Chilling.
just chilling. And I
How great would that be? Just to be chilling, like.
And I actually did hide Jimmy in the label. He's in there.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, we blew our wad up to that point, but Jimmy's sitting there, and I'm like, well, I got to buy a freaking Kentucky Spirit and have him sign it. So I bought another bottle, and then he signed. That was like our last thing we went to almost,
Yep.
I believe.
Tyler, what do you? What's your kind of take on Wild Turkey? You a Wild Turkey fan?
I do. I love it increasingly more, and
Yeah.
they probably pulled me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
And it's pretty much come down to
Doing
Michter's.
God's work, gentlemen.
That's right.
Michter's, Wild Turkey, and Four Roses as my favorites that I would.
Good
I
Four
would-
Roses barrel proof,
Yeah.
man. Those are
I always forget
amazing.
about Four Roses too. I love
Yeah.
I know.
Four Roses.
If someone's like,
It's hard to find the ones you don't like. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
someone's like, hey, you had to have, basically 3 distilleries the rest of your life, it'd be like those.
What was your third one?
Michter's.
Michter's.
There's, yeah.
Yeah, that would be tough for me. I could easily get by without Buffalo Trace, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I very rarely drink Buffalo Trace. I think the most Buffalo Trace bottle I ever drink is actually
Taylor?
it's Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare.
I love Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare and E.H. Taylor are about the only two that
I love E.H. Taylor Small Batch.
Yeah, E.H. Taylor Small
Yeah.
Batch is good.
Same.
It's consistent. And every time I've had it up against the single barrel E.H. Taylor, I like Small Batch better.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
The thing about
And that
them,
barrel proof we got is outstanding.
Oh, it's so good.
the thing about them is obviously they have their single barrel program, but I don't know that they put out a single barrel that is frequent enough that matches up against either Four Roses or Russell's Reserve.
Yeah.
That they put out as frequent. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's single barrels of E.H. Taylor and Eagle Rare, even Buffalo Trace. It's
Yeah, they're okay. I've had some really special Eagle Rare single barrels.
Yeah, same.
But it's really just like that elevated like grape cherry note.
Yeah.
And the thing is an absolute like fruit monster. Those are the really good ones. I've had a couple of Stag Junior picks, which have been really stellar. I gotta say
forgot about Stag Junior.
I've never really been blown away by either like a Colonel Taylor single barrel.
Yeah.
They've been good. They've been obviously better than the standard, but nothing that I would go out and pay $1,100 for that some of these guys are paying. So
Yeah, insanity.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's probably the one distillery. If they disappeared,
Sure.
I'd be upset because there are some things I do like from them.
There's nothing like visiting Buffalo Trace.
Although, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
just amazing.
I
I
love
finally
going there.
I finally took
Yeah.
my wife in
it
there.
feels epic. Like,
It really does. It really
Yeah.
does. I
But
can't
it's
wait
just
to.
it's
yeah.
fucking awesome.
I can't wait to go to Jack Daniels this week. I finally got to go there in person, and now my girlfriend Kim is coming with us. Scott and his wife are going, and
Yeah.
they've never been, and I can't wait for them to just like see the grounds and
oh,
just see.
so Scott didn't get to go with you, and then you got to go for that.
I got to
the
go
10-year
'cause
or something,
They invited
right?
me for the 10 and 12-year
Yeah,
release.
okay.
And
I forgot about that. I was thinking it was
yeah.
a single barrel pick, but it wasn't.
No, so this is for a pick, but
Yeah.
we can't. I can't wait to go again and just.
Did we
walk around.
review your 12-year?
No, I still haven't brought it on.
What
we need
the
to do that.
hell, man?
the Jack Daniels
Holding,
12-year?
holding back.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have brought it.
He has it.
I have
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
Have you've done a Mash and Journey Jack Daniels pick, right? Did they ship it to you or something?
Yeah, that was virtual, but
Oh,
now,
was it?
now they switched that. Now everything has to be on site. So,
Okay.
So yeah,
That's cool.
but I don't mind. I mean, Tennessee's a quick flight, and
It's not a bad drive.
it's not a
either,
bad
to be
drive
honest.
either. And you could just kind of, but it's about an hour, 45 minutes, hour and a half from
Nashville.
Nashville. So yeah, we have an early morning ahead of us.
Do they do any do they sell any like barrel picks or store picks at Jack Daniels, or is
Yes.
it just okay? I've never been to the Jack Daniels distillery, so
Well, actually, what's funny is that Jack Daniels is a dry
County,
It's a dry
yeah.
county, so they technically can't sell like at their gift shop. So you have to. I forgot how they have the workaround. I forgot how it's done, but you go into like Lynchburg, Tennessee, a little small town, and they have some Jack Daniels stuff there. It's pretty cool. So
That's great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, this
So they exist in a dry county.
yeah,
That's crazy.
not crazy.
I went to school in college in a dry county. So the
You
whole
went to school in college?
Well, when I said school, why don't you think I meant like high school?
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
why I was
I'm just
clarifying.
messing with you. I'm
So
just messing.
It's just,
Hey, a lot of people didn't go to school in college, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they didn't last 4
it
years.
didn't last
Yeah.
4 years.
All right, so we've got a nice little lineup of we've got two Russell's picks. One is a Camp Nelson E. I don't know what the one on the left is. I think it's one of yours, but can you check and see what
Yeah,
the
that's the.
Brett, has yours opened
that's the
up
Rooster.
a little more?
which one?
The
This is a Tyrone B.
Tyrone
The one
B?
that you got for me in Michigan?
Yeah.
Or the one that you got for me at Justin's House of Bourbon?
Justin's House Suburban.
It has opened up a lot.
Something to do with E.
Nice.
A lot. The one you got
What's
for me
that?
in Michigan, I crushed already.
You want to start with that
Nice.
one?
But so I have so many Russells.
You crushed that one?
Yeah, I
Damn.
fucking crushed it. Sorry.
No,
I
you're
have
you're good.
I have
One
so
that's
many
open.
Russells single barrel picks that like I'm tired of looking at them and I'm like I'm going to fucking drink them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. Plus I've been trying to like dwindle down my my stash just a little bit, just to make room for things. And again, I'm tired of having all of these good picks that I don't drink. So I'm like, I'm gonna fucking drink them.
All right. So while you're done flapping your gums,
You were talking anyway.
I think Kentucky Spirit is probably one of the more unsung hero brands for Wild Turkey because the Russell's picks get so much of the spotlight. People forget how good some of those.
Those are hard to find, though.
Yeah.
well, and I'll tell you, the first time I ever got one was actually with you.
Yeah.
I'd never had it before. I didn't even know that it was a single barrel of 101. I hadn't put it together yet because we were new to this.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, because I bought 2 of them on that trip. One we got at a store, one I got in the gift shop. And the one we got in the store, I just destroyed.
Yeah.
I think we got it at the whiskey and wine place that we stopped at.
Yeah.
Westport Whiskey and
Westport
Wine is where I'd gotten that. Here you go.
I can't wait for this one.
So this one's 8 years old. It's Camp Nelson E. And so for Black and Brown podcast, this is one of those Camp Nelsons. We've got Jason on here. So one of the questions they had for us on the podcast is, they love the Russell's barrel picks, but they've never really paid that much attention to the ricks that they come from. And, because he was talking about how he loves himself some, what was it, K?
Yeah, Warehouse K is my
Warehouse K.
favorite.
And then, they were like, oh, you have a favorite rick house. And so I tried to explain to them a little bit like the Camp Nelson and the Tyrones, and just, there's a little bit of a difference in geography, like elevation, the surroundings, like near a river, that type of stuff. But you've got more detail on those. I've only seen a little bit of the mapping of their rick houses.
Yeah, basically, Camp Nelson is set a little bit lower than where the Tyrone warehouses are, and they're closer to the river. So basically, what happens is, according to Wild Turkey, is that you get a lot more airflow coming off of the river, especially when the weather gets a little bit colder. So you have more temperature variation that kind of whips through the warehouses in those times.
On which ones?
In the Camp, the Camp Nelson rick houses.
Okay.
Tyrones, what happens is some of them are a little bit higher than others, so you get some really. But generally, when you're driving into Wild Turkey, you kind of see the warehouses lined up.
Right.
So they're not. You don't see a ton more elevation switches. That's why the Camp Nelson is so much lower to the river. So that I feel like you get more. You have a chance of getting more off profile single barrel picks than you would versus a Tyrone pick.
Where does K sit? Because what is it about K that seems to produce?
It's in the Tyrone.
Yeah,
Is it
the
the
K is in
Tyrone?
that Tyrone area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Camp Nelson, what do they have? A, B, C, D, and E?
Well, C has been decommissioned.
Okay, that's the one that's been decommissioned.
Yeah.
And there's no more picks coming. Wasn't the Rick
The single
House?
Rick House was
that
the last thing
okay.
apparently coming out of Camp Nelson C.
Well, you showed us A because you were saying that was from like the 1800s when we were there at the gift shop.
Well,
If I
that was
remember.
Tyrone A, not Camp Nelson.
Okay, gotcha.
When we walked in, where we did the picks,
Yeah.
that you generally do that in either A or B, and A was, that is one of their first warehouses.
That's
they ever
really
built,
cool,
which
yeah.
is crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of termites holding hands.
For
is what it
real.
looks
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm actually trying to pull up the.
Did you taste it already?
Fantastic.
is this the one we just poured?
Yes.
So I got that right? 8 years, Camp Nelson E.
Camp
And
Nelson E, correct.
Now this is a
8
bourbon
years.
enthusiast pick.
Floor 4, if you care.
Floor 4. So
I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's the.
when you do
So if you
a
see
Russell's
this
pick,
photo,
what's the age
Okay.
usually on
Here's
those?
the Kentucky River's right
Oh,
here.
gotcha.
So you have all these trees, but you still have the wind that kind of whips through there. And then here are the Camp Nelson rick houses. So it really only goes up to F. There's nothing.
Okay.
Once you hit F, it
Gotcha.
kinda,
But
it
C's
kinda
been
hits.
decommissioned.
Yeah, but C's been decommissioned. So now you only have 5 ricks to get some stuff there. But we've seen a lot of E's popping up, like we have here.
Mm-hmm.
F has always been a favorite. But
Do you seem to think, or does it seem to you as though they're kind of or I guess not circular, but like they kind of trend all at the same time, like the E's, and then another year like the C's, and then another year like the D's or something like that?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But it's really just based on, I think, when the barrels are hitting. Because when we went, remember, Bruce had a bunch of different warehouses all
we did,
lined up.
actually,
And
yeah.
he said immediately in the beginning, he's like, I know what you were going to pick because those barrels been hitting, like he said in that Kentucky boy accent that he has, which is awesome when you kind of hear him just talk and like wax poetic about wild turkey. But and he was right. It ended up being the K.
Yeah, the K and the D was a good one. That was a good one.
The D was an off-profile one, which I'm really excited about that one.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you did with the labels.
Yeah.
This is a great nose.
Those are in progress.
Wait till you freaking taste it.
Ooh.
So this is a bourbon enthusiast pick, and between you and them, I'll tell you, man, I've had nothing but great luck with these Russell picks.
Yeah.
The bourbon enthusiasts and the mash and it's anytime I see them come up, it's like if I can't get them, it's only because it's not in my budget that time.
Dude, this is like liquid wild turkey extract. This is really nice.
I get like concentrated vanilla in this.
Oh, I can't wait to dive into this. All right, I'm going in.
This is a good. I'm sad I didn't get this pick, but it sold out before
Sold
it got
out
to me.
I probably could have bought two, and he probably wouldn't have said anything. Oh my gosh, that's good.
Right? Isn't that like just vanilla extract? Like
Yeah, so
I'm so glad I got this.
So Camp Nelson E is like so E and F are the closest to the river.
Yeah.
Which is why I think you get so many of those really nice concentrated flavors from both of those warehouses.
Well, and that breeze coming off the river probably does something.
Yeah, I think so.
it probably pushes the air through and cycles it a little bit better inside the warehouse. I know that when the tornado survivor,
A tornado survivor.
I'm surprised they haven't come up with like some sort of open air rick houses
funny.
where you know what I mean, like
where they swirl.
I remember that. I remember that
them.
news story about Buffalo Trace. It was either last year or the year before that, where somebody found like a World War II, like a bomb or something from World War II, like buried. I was going to be like, all right, next release, Colonel
Bomb
Taylor,
edition.
Bomb Survivor.
bomb survivor. Yeah. Jeez.
It just
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure
what-
there's a
that's
lot of
what
jokes that
everybody
came out of
goes
that. Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, I mean, you got to market it, man.
Yeah.
You got to market it,
Man,
and they
I
must
would-
be doing something right on their marketing because people go
people
nuts
buy
over
that
this
shit.
stuff.
Buffalo Trace has the greatest marketing.
They
ever.
must, and I don't
they
even
do.
realize what they're doing because, like, besides the fact that they have like
Well, it's
23
really-
brands.
It's really Sazerac, but yeah, they just know how to market that stuff.
Yeah,
They don't have to try too hard.
Yeah.
As soon
No.
as something gets announced, that's it.
it's nuts.
Yeah.
Have you had the new Weller stuff, Daniel Weller, whatever it is?
No, I haven't even sniffed that bottle.
Well, I mean, with that compass top, I mean, I'm surprised you haven't picked it up
You
yet.
haven't found your
No,
way.
I have not.
Wink.
Yeah, I'm just lost in the woods still.
Give us a pop.
He's back, baby.
good.
Love it.
Oh, it's been too long, Tyler. Too long. Been too long. All right, so let's break this down.
So, Tyler, how do you compare this to your favorite Blantons?
I love that he has become Blanton's boy, and I don't think he's that huge of a homer of Blanton's.
I literally listened to an episode, and you guys were drinking the Blantons, and from his mouth, he goes, "Blantons, it's just the best." And I literally cringe in my car.
He was
I'm
probably
like,
drunk.
Yeah.
He was probably
He might have been drunk, yeah.
God. 'Cause I don't think he truly feels that way. I think he enjoys Blanton's, and we
Yeah.
buy it when we see it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, for a $57 or $60 or whatever it is now, bottle,
Not even Blanton's, just most single barrels out there. I mean, it's tough to beat this one. I mean, I did hear your question earlier. Generally, they're about 9 years old. The Russells.
This is 8, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
this
Okay.
is 8. So, and I think our K was actually not even 9 years yet.
Right.
Which
I
was
think it was
interesting.
just short of 9, right?
Because by far it was such a absolute flavor bomb.
We all loved that one.
Yeah.
There was no one in the group that was like even questioning that one.
I didn't even write down any damn tasting notes. All I wrote was I want it.
I think I had some tasting notes for K.
Did you have? Is it 2 Russells coming out in a Kentucky Spirit
Yes.
or okay?
Yeah.
Two Russell and Kentucky.
It's gonna be some cash monies being dropped.
Going to be
Yeah.
some gobbles.
But this is outstanding. This is really good. I'm actually interested because this is one of my infinity bottles. Is this? It's just Russells. I do 2 ounces of Russells from each pick, and I pour it in.
So what's the rest of the stats of this one, Brett? So what Rick was this? And I know it's Camp Nelson E, but
Floor. I can't talk. Floor 4.
floor 4.
Yeah. It was bottled on December 4th, 2014. Dumped on in
Barrel.
2023.
Barrel.
Nice. Okay.
Distilled.
It wasn't bottled on 2014. That's
I
a
said
long
distilled.
Time. You said it was bottled.
Did I say bottled? I
You
meant to say
did.
distilled. I'm sorry. Yeah. It was
But that's all
bottled.
right.
Yeah.
That between that and the magicians, I mean, I think we're
Right.
we're fine.
All right, well, we're drinking some good turkey now, and I always like to ask like you guys these fun questions because it's just fun to kind of see how you guys grew up and stuff. So
This is where I think I was going to go.
This is a Thanksgiving question.
it's a Thanksgiving question.
That's where I was going.
Because we're enjoying turkey. So this is Thanksgiving Eve when this is releasing. So tomorrow when it's Thanksgiving dinner, what's like the one thing about Thanksgiving dinner you look forward to every year? What is it?
Tyler.
Food wise or just
Food wise.
food wise?
Yeah, we'll go food.
Stuffing. I'm a huge stuffing guy.
So wait,
Dressing.
in the ass or outside of the ass?
Both.
Okay.
I like them equally as as
He
much.
says it so calmly. I love it. Yeah, both.
Hey, I mean, he
We
knows,
actually-
when
he
I'm
knows
asking,
where
he
you're
knows
going,
there's
yeah.
something.
On my side of the
This is
family, we
chocolatey,
actually had it this last weekend.
Oh
So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did.
The one like
Is there a dessert that you look forward to, or a side? You said stuffing, I guess. So yeah.
yeah. So one of the things that my family does, we do one baked pineapple, which I absolutely fucking love.
Baked pineapple.
Yeah.
Just
do you mean?
and then you slice it afterwards. Or
No,
what do you-
no, it's almost like a puree. It's like a pineapple puree almost, and you put like cinnamon on top and throw it in, and it comes out and it's warm. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like an applesauce, but it's pineapple.
Oh, okay. I can see
Yeah.
where you're going with that.
Yeah, and
Nice.
there's cinnamon on top. It gets baked.
Do they puree it themselves, or do they buy canned pineapple?
I think
What do
it's
they do?
I think it's canned.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
canned.
that-
There might be some other things in there too,
Sure.
but the other one is pistachio jello or pudding. It's got a bunch of marshmallows, Cool Whip. I think
Whip.
it's like the pistachio jello mix.
Yeah.
And then like crushed up.
Pistachio.
That's so
pistachios
dope.
in
I
there.
didn't see that one coming.
I
Yeah.
don't either.
That's
It's a very mellow.
You lost your turn.
Palate
Brett?
cleansing.
Wait, and real quick, before we move on to Brett, canned cranberry sauce or fresh?
Oh fucking that!
I'm
come
not.
on.
No, you
I'm
can
gonna
go.
say fresh, but I don't like. I'm not a big fan of either.
Oh, God.
If we're
You've
talking
never had
leftover,
mine.
if we're
You've
talking
never had
about
mine.
leftovers on a sandwich, I will, but typically not.
You've never had.
So,
mine,
so on your leftovers, you use that pineapple stuff then instead? Since you
no,
love it so much,
no. I just make
okay.
usually gravy.
Oh yeah.
That's a very Midwest thing. It's
All right,
gravy.
Brett, you're up, man.
I like the sides, so I'm all about sides. I love like mashed potatoes and noodles. I'm the guy that puts noodles on their mashed potatoes. My mom does this sweet potato casserole thing where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got the pecans and the brown sugar and cinnamon on top of it. I don't
Marshmallows?
necessarily love the marshmallow. I can do a little marshmallow, but not a ton. It's more about the brown sugar cinnamon.
Oh yeah.
So all that stuff I absolutely love. The green beans with like the bacon inside of or on top of it, that's
Yeah.
all fantastic. And then for me, dessert, it's super, super basic, but I love Rice Krispie treats. I don't know what it is. Like,
Rice Krispie treats, nice.
dude, on our bourbon trip, I might just make a giant pan of Rice Krispie treats
Hey,
and see how long they
they're
last.
selling the pre-made pans of Rice Krispie treats.
yeah,
Where?
Right.
Costco?
Where did I just see?
yeah.
it?
I just saw them too, and I don't remember.
Oh, really?
where.
Costco?
Yeah, I'm a Costco member. I'll go.
It might be Costco or Sam's or one of them.
Where was I?
I love Rice
I think
Krispie
it-
treats, man. Of course,
I
gravy
think it was.
too. Gravy.
I think it was Target. Is where I saw it.
Really?
I think so.
Oh, I'm sure it's
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
Because that's the only place. Ever since I accidentally shoplifted at Kroger, I haven't gone to any stores recently. And that's the only place I've gone. So, long story. I'll tell that in another day. So for me, my mom and I make a cranberry sauce. It's homemade. We buy the cranberries, and it's more like a cranberry jam or a
Okay.
cranberry jelly. So basically, what you do is you bring the cranberries to a boil, and then you run them through a sieve after they've softened.
Yep.
And you take all that schmutz that comes out of the freaking cranberries, and then you boil it again. And then as soon as it comes to a boil, you add like a shit ton of sugar. And then you put it in a bowl, put it in the fridge, and it sets up, and it becomes like a cranberry. You would love that.
Jar it up for me.
So good.
Jar it up.
I will.
Jar it up.
So that's my biggest complaint is my mother's turkey is dry as can be.
Yeah.
So the cranberry sauce comes in handy.
Smoke one this year.
Well, I go to my sister's for Thanksgiving,
Okay.
I would, and I do actually. I smoke mine when we do our Christmas. I smoke mine, but the dressing she does, the stuffing, because she does ass stuffing, and it's outstanding.
We are going to do a spit roasted turkey this year.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
that's sexy.
Yeah, that is. So to answer your question about what I look forward to the most. It's a combination of stuffing turkey and the cranberry sauce.
Yeah.
Like that combo, like every bite, I usually have a little bit of each. So it's not like one thing. And then the dessert-wise, for me, I'm pretty basic too. I love myself a good Dutch apple pie.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Dutch apple with the
like pies that well.
I don't like a lot of pies. Blueberry pie, peach cobbler, and then Dutch apple pie are about the only pies I really, really like. And
Sweet potato pie, I do like that.
oh, I've
That's
never had
good.
a sweet potato
Really?
pie.
It's like a pumpkin pie, but those are
I'm
good.
sure it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen them. I've just never eaten one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what do you do?
No, I mean, mine like switched because, before I lost my grandma, it was like, the Italian Thanksgiving.
Oh, I never thought of an Italian Thanksgiving. I never really thought of that.
I've
Yeah.
done an
Yeah.
Italian Christmas, which was amazing.
It's very similar.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's basically
Well, because
you
our
have-
Thanksgiving and
yeah.
Christmas are almost identical.
You have prosciutto mozzarella, then you have rice balls, then you have meatballs, and then you have lasagna, and then the turkey, and everything else comes out.
I love
Oh, wow. So
lasagna.
you still do turkey with all of that?
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's essentially like what my grandmother's Italian Thanksgiving was. You had to work your way through all this other stuff
Yeah.
before you get
You
to
had
the
to
turkey.
earn the turkey.
Yeah, and her stuffing
The
was
turkey
different.
was the boss.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Yeah.
do clam stuffing?
No, she would actually do a rice sausage stuffing.
Oh.
So it'd be an herbed
Yeah.
Rice with homemade sausage,
Yep.
some spices, and then she would put a little bit of bread in it as a binder.
Yeah.
And that's what she would stuff in the turkey. But nowadays, I think my favorite stuff is kind of a vision like what you like, where I love, cause I make the stuffing every year,
Yeah.
which I love it, and then I make this really crazy good turkey, I think, and it always comes out really juicy and
Do you do any
delicious.
injections or anything, or what do you do?
So I brine it overnight.
That's a huge.
So
That's a
brining,
big.
yeah, so
You
brine-
always brine.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
Well,
brine.
my mother doesn't do that.
So,
She,
so brine it overnight. Then obviously I slather it with a mixture of olive oil and butter.
yeah.
And under the skin, on the skin.
Yep.
But inside, excuse me. Oh God, this went down the wrong.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Oh, that's burns.
And then yes.
Oh, it burns so good.
It's like that syphilis.
It's so deep. It burns so deep. Ron Burgundy. And then inside
gotcha.
inside the turkey, we don't actually put the stuffing in there. What we do is I put a cross-cut head of garlic in there, onion, lemon.
lemon. That's good because that'll burst as it's.
Yeah, take a bunch of like fresh thyme and rosemary and just stuff it all in there with some fresh herbs, salt, pepper, and then you kind of tie it up real good and cinch it up and then throw it in there, and it just comes out so good and crispy on the outside,
Right.
Really
But still
juicy on the
juicy
inside.
yeah.
But really, my favorite thing about Thanksgiving is actually not Thanksgiving; it's the day after.
Oh,
It's
the leftovers.
It's the Thanksgiving
Leftover
Day
sandwiches,
panini,
baby.
panini that I make.
Yeah.
Oh.
where you take the
done this.
stuffing.
Yeah.
And you put it in the fridge overnight, the stuffing.
Yep.
Then you take it out and you take a big heap of it and you turn it into like this really
A
compacted
patty.
square.
Yeah.
Base a little butter on it, and then you put your turkey, your gravy, your cranberry sauce, maybe, and some stuffing. Then you take the other top of the stuffing, same thing, put it on top of
So
that.
the stuffing becomes the bread.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you
I could
squish
never
it and you,
have
like,
too much
press it in the
stuffing, man.
panini?
I
then you
love
press it in the
fucking-
panini press, and it comes
never
out
heard of that.
as
That sounds fantastic,
as a
though.
panini bread, like a panini leftover sandwich.
Nice.
So the stuffing is the bread. Then you have your turkey in the middle with your gravy, your cranberry sauce, and even I like your idea. I'll throw like some of the green beans or bacon in
Yeah.
there too.
Do you like green
I'm not
bean
going to say I
casserole?
moved, but I went from 6 to 9.
Do you guys do green bean casserole?
Yes, green bean casserole. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
love that.
my parents do a broccoli cheese
So
casserole.
I didn't
as well.
grow up with that. However, my cousin Vinny, his wife, she
My
made
cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I
Great
literally have
movie,
a cousin
great movie.
Vinny.
That's awesome.
I also have an Uncle Tony.
Does he
So,
say the 2 Utes?
No, he's like the most like Midwest like dude.
Oh,
ever.
really?
You never know.
Damn
yeah.
it.
He goes by Vince now. I'm Vince.
Probably
too-
because he's tired of being called cousin Vinny.
Yeah, he's too grown up for that. But every time I say, "I'm like, what's up, my cousin Vinny?" He hates it. Anyway, his wife Kara, she introduced me to not sweet potato casserole, but like a sweet carrot casserole.
I've had one.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
they're
was
good
just
too.
so
Yeah.
delicious. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I could eat that all day long. That's so good. She has like the toasted pecans on top.
Yeah.
It's sweet. It's so
Nice.
good.
So here's what we need to do. This Thanksgiving, everyone post to our
Instagram.
Instagram pictures from their dinners, and then make sure you say who's this, like Tyler's, and then Brett's, so we know whose is whose.
Of your like plate.
Yeah, of your plate or just the spread, whatever. Yeah,
I love it.
I like that. Let's do that. This is a winner. I like this. I'm pretty happy about this. The fact that it was 8 years had me a little worried.
Yeah.
But it's hitting in all the right places for me. It's got a nice medium finish, vanilla. There's some other stuff going on I haven't
There's a
pinpointed
little
yet.
chocolate in here too.
Yeah, that's what Brett said too.
You know what this tastes like to me?
Yeah.
A chocolate, and I've gotten this in other turkey picks. It tastes like a spicy Kit Kat. Where you got a lot of the vanilla wafer.
Yeah, I can
through.
see that.
The
You got
cookie,
the cookie. You got the chocolate, and then you got all that spice.
Because I got vanilla and chocolate for sure.
I definitely get the chocolate now that you've mentioned it. I hadn't really drank it since we started talking, but the chocolate's definitely coming through now.
Yeah, it's like
that I've had it a
liquid
little
Kit Kat. It's
Let's do the next.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's do the next.
So
What
what's
is
the
the
next
next?
Russell's there? Let's do that next Russell's beside it. Was that your pick, right?
Yeah, this is the Rooster, we called it, because I had a kind of a Top Gun theme for some of my past Russell's picks.
Now, do you guys do Black Friday shopping at all?
Well, I won't be this year. I don't have a job.
Still?
Well, I got a rejection today,
Aw.
for the one that I thought for sure I was getting.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
But I at least read it correctly. I was in the last two. I was in the final two. But I've got another opportunity that's picking up some steam. We'll see.
Okay. Well, this is a 9-year, and now we're going up to Tyrone, which is Warehouse B. I think the Tyrone warehouses generally get into more of the traditional turkey flavors, which is like cherry and citrus and stuff like that. So give it a go.
I've got your glasses, by the way. Those bourbon heads.
Oh, nice.
I keep forgetting to give them to you. And here's 2 of them, actually, so you can just take them when you go.
Oh, nice.
And they're each different. There's one that's a Avatar and one that's
So, do we have any other updates on the trip? Anything?
just kind of waiting, I think, on...
So it doesn't. Unfortunately, it looks like the barrel pick won't happen at.
Okay. So I can start working on...
at a more of an agenda. And it's not for lack. They said that they could definitely do it. Just the amount of guys we have, they couldn't accommodate that many.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They could do up to 8 in the
Tyler,
like the
you're
bar
out.
area.
I'll sit outside.
But as far as like in the barrel house to like go through the bourbons, they could only get like 4 or 5 people in there. I'm like, well,
I mean,
that's not going to really work.
Well, when I've been there before, that kind of tracks.
It should be a group thing. So I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I figured if we wanted, we can go there. I'm not going to say what distillery it is, but we can go there that day and just maybe meet up and get like a cool tour, and
Tour.
and just who knows what could come of that. I always think you kind of go there with some intentions, and
Well,
you never
cool
know.
idea.
follow up with that idea.
Yeah.
And see what they say, and if they will, then let's do it. But that gives me some
Yeah,
ability to try to maybe start scheduling.
but we have a
some
really
stuff.
nice place to stay at, which is cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, that place is nice.
Any dinner plans so far?
Well, I mean, I was playing a lot of it by ear. Maybe the kitchen table place at Jim Beam after our visit there on Friday.
I've never been there. I'm really excited to go there.
So
I've never been to Jim Beam.
Yeah, I haven't either.
been.
I was
So-
just driven right by it.
I don't think any of us have been there.
It'd be nice
Except for
if
Jeff.
we
Jeff's
did
been there
like
once.
one nicer-ish dinner. There's nothing. It doesn't have to be like high end or anything.
Well,
and
kitchen
then, like,
table is a nice-ish
Yeah.
place, but we can also do something nice in Louisville if you want
and
to.
then whatever night we always usually do the.
That's Friday night usually.
That we usually do the bottle kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could we do the Jim Beam one on Saturday night?
Well,
And
we're
we'll
going
do,
to
like-
be at Jim Beam on Friday. It's already reserved. I mean, we could drive back down there. It's not horrible.
I didn't know
far
if it
from
was
Louisville.
in Louisville or not.
No, it's in what's it called? What's the town
Of what?
where Jim Beam is?
Claremont.
Claremont.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well then the next night if we're staying in or whatever, we can.
I mean, we
just
can-
do like pizza and wings or something like that.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, we don't have to all do the same thing.
Sure.
So if some people want to go to a nice dinner and other people want to stay back and have wings and watch football or something, we can do that. I don't
Yeah.
care.
So you guys have some pretty. I'm just coming off that Cam Nelson E. There's a big difference here going to the Tyrone. For me, this is more oak and spice, and a little bit more citrus. Compared
I was
to
getting
the
ready
E.
to say I get some citrus on the nose.
Yeah,
Definitely more spice. A lot
Yeah.
more like clove.
a little bit more
and-
baking spicy for
Yeah.
sure.
I almost get like a cinnamon orange type of
cinnamon's
nose.
a good word, but like a cinnamon stick.
Yeah, cinnamon.
Not
stick.
The cinnamon
like,
you like, not
the cinnamon
the
I
you
like,
don't.
not big red gum cinnamon.
Fresh
Yeah.
cinnamon. Yeah.
That's real nice.
Oh man, I forgot
that's
how
good.
good.
It's really good.
Forgot how good this pick was.
Yeah, this is good.
This is the older label too.
This is
This is really good.
This has, I think, actually a better viscosity than the E.
It does, and it's got a little bit more of a spice to it, a rye spice.
I agree. There is like a bacon spice, rye spice.
As much as I like that first one, I think I like this one better. And it's mainly because of the finish. I feel like this is one, like I talk about this all the time. I feel like this is one I could sit with all night long and just sip on. And it's just going to keep,
Yeah, that's why we picked this one. It was based on how much baking spice we got. We all just were like, wow, there's so much cinnamon and allspice and clove, and there's a lot going on in the finish of this one. And it's just enough sweet and citrus in the beginning to kind of keep things interesting.
Yeah, as soon as it hits the tongue, front of the tongue, there's a little bit of sweetness there. I think your traditional vanilla, but the vanilla kind of gets overshadowed, in my opinion, as it travels back, and you get, like, it really starts to burst as it goes over the tongue.
No,
This is like almost what I wish some winter ryes were like.
Oh, yeah, like
You
a
know what I
spiced
mean?
rye kind of.
Yeah, like this almost hits better winter time. Like it's definitely a fall winter drink
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's not quite like some of the more robust winter ryes.
We picked this right before fall hit, and it was pretty chilly already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's got good flavor for like December,
You know what I
Christmas time.
find really interesting is when Tyler comes out of his like phone comas and actually produces some information that's actually relevant and worth something. It's nice. He actually hits sometimes.
He does.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
Good job, Tyler.
It's like coming out of a slump, like when Casey's at bat and then he finally gets that hit.
He's got the history. You guys go way back, like a car seat. It's all good.
in an old Pontiac.
I'm a Saturn.
I'm a Saturn.
I'm a Saturn.
Jesus.
I love this one, man.
Yeah, this is good. I think I do like this one a little bit better than the last
Ooh,
one.
I'm definitely getting some more chocolate notes on the that next finish.
And the finish on this is man
continuous.
You're right.
Yeah.
You could just sit with this,
Yeah.
just sip it all night. You'd be good to go.
For me, that's a big thing. If it's got a nice finish, a lot of times that finish, and we heard this at Heaven Hill that one time, second drinks for free, right?
Yeah.
But that finish coming back up as you're breathing it back up, sometimes it introduces more flavor.
Yeah.
And I get that from this one.
Yeah,
Aromatic,
it's the old
Yeah.
it's the old flag on the plate. It's the late hit.
The late hit.
hit.
I like that.
I like it.
So it was the second drinks for free, late hit. We've got Hyman pour.
Did he?
I like
does he know
late
about
hit.
the
Hey,
Hyman pour?
Hey, yeah, he does. And we had the Hyman pour tonight on the first Russells.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
right.
was.
We had a Hyman pour. I forgot.
good.
Shit.
How good was that 1915, by the way?
It's
That
good.
was so good.
Oh, man.
It's good. It's good. Have
gotta
you,
tell
have you
you,
revisited it since?
No, I'm going to, though.
Yeah.
I drank rare breed. And so I was with Kim and and her two nieces and her nephew. We went out trick or treating, and right before I had some coffee, I poured a little.
Good
poured
call.
A
Good
little,
call.
a little wild turkey rare breed in there.
Into your coffee?
Oh yeah.
How does that stack
Bourbon and
up?
coffee's so
Oh, it was
good.
delicious.
Does it? Is it really?
Oh, I used to
I've
do
had
that
bourbon
all the time.
I do bourbon cream and coffee. I've never done actual bourbon and coffee.
Well, it depends. If it's just a regular straight up coffee, or I find personally it works better with like a vanilla latte because
Okay, so
you have the vanilla
So
flavors.
stick with me here. When I do coffee, I put in vanilla creamer.
Yeah.
So
a bourbon would go fantastic. Just
which
pour a little
I think
nip.
kind of is like what a bourbon cream probably
needs a
actually ends
little-
up being, right?
Needs a couple ounces in there. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Dude, so many
Just
years.
like
that-
4 or 5 ounces.
Yeah.
4 or 5 ounces. I love how he immediately agreed.
He's like,
And-
"Wait a
And then
minute."
he realized, wait a second, that's too much.
I'm like, wait, that's
too
at that
much.
point it's not coffee anymore.
At that point, it's a different kind of day.
Yeah.
At the Strongest Unicorn, remember we used to do that at your gym, whatever. But anyway, Middle West Spirits would sponsor it, and I would drink coffee and bourbon the entire time.
Oh, at the Arnold. You mean?
No, the one at the Strongest Unicorn.
Yeah, they did sponsor one of those.
Yeah,
that's
they
right.
sponsored a couple of them, and I would just pour bourbon into my coffee all day long, and it was fantastic.
Really?
It
I did not
hits
know you were
quick,
lit the
though.
whole time.
It hits you quick. Yeah, because of the announcing I was making, it was not okay. The things I would say that we're not going to say
listen,
right now.
the only thing that people so we had a live audience. It was an Olympic weightlifting event that we ran at our gym. It's called the Strongest Unicorn. Unicorns are like mascot.
Yeah.
So we would sit there and I would stream it out to the masses, and he and I would, and then Sam Shaw, who you've met before, have we would be the announcers, and we would commentate it, and it got to a point where on Sunday, because we would get lit, I'd lift on Saturday usually, and then on Sunday we'd just get trashed and just commentate all day, and it got to a point where our listeners were listening for us or watching. They were watching. Actually, because it wasn't a podcast, there was actual
live
video.
stream.
But they were listening to you talk.
They were tuning in because of the commentary. They weren't even like, we were getting so much like feedback and chatting online as we were talking, and so many people were like, "Oh, the only reason I'm watching this now is because of you idiots." Like, we were so drunk.
That's awesome.
We would be so drunk by then. It was always great.
Yeah, love the spice of this one.
Yeah, this is good. This is really good. So, do you want to do?
What's the matter, Tyler?
Just trying to fuck with him. He wasn't quick with his answer.
I don't care.
Or he
man.
paused on purpose.
No.
To ruin it.
So do you guys want to do the surprise bottle next, or do you want to do a Wild Turkey one? Just kind of revisit real quick.
I actually think we should do the surprise bottle next because it is also a Camp Nelson E.
And we're already on that
We're on that wavelength.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. So you introduce the next bottle.
I've been saving a glass for this, by the way.
I have been too.
So the next bottle up is, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a very, very small release, but it's called the Pride of Anderson County. Now, this is a combo release with Rare Character Bourbon. So if you guys have seen Rare Character releases, this is the owners of Rare Character kind of creating this bourbon along in partnership with David Jennings of Rare Bird 101, who is probably the biggest Wild Turkey fanboy on the planet. It's got a great blog. If you go to rarebird101.com.
Kind of like Tyler with Bland's.
Exactly. Yeah. Not so much. Not so much anymore. But yeah, so this bottle's been talked about for a very long time. I think even going back to the end of last year, it was kind of in the works. It got delayed, then it finally came out. But then when the prices got released, that's when people really started like, wait, what?
What? So break it all down. What are the stats?
There's a Pride of Anderson County bourbon and a rye, and they both retail for about $500 each. So they are pricey. Now, I wanted to get the bourbon just in support of David. Not sure I would buy another one at that price because there are so many good turkey picks out there, just like we had. However, this bottle is a 13-and-a-half-year-old Camp Nelson E. Now, this is also barrel proof, so Russell's picks get proof down to 110 no matter what they are.
Right.
This is all no water,
So
non-chill
what's
filtered.
the proof on this?
Let me tell you here.
Handwritten, by the way.
All handwritten. This is 119.8 proof.
119.8 proof. This is a Camp Nelson E. So this is basically Wild Turkey distillate, sourced from them.
Fourth floor.
Single barrel, fourth floor, which is what we just had. Fourth floor, Camp Nelson E is what we just had, but it was 8 years. This is 13 and a half.
We should have done these two in a different order to compare the two.
Yeah, whatever.
Distilled in 2010 and bottled in 2023.
So just for comparison's sake, the first Russell's pick we did was Camp Nelson E, 8 years old. And
Same floor.
Same floor, fourth floor. And this one's 13 and a half years old, Camp Nelson E. And let's see how
dark that is in the glass.
I know,
man.
it looked dark. I was going to say, you can pour mine. I'll let you pour mine because...
Where are you at? This glass right here?
That one right there. Okay. So pour as heavy as you feel.
I'll give you a 3-finger pour.
Yeah, you do this.
Yeah, is that a 3-finger pour?
It's not.
I was going to say because I don't know how skinny your fingers are.
When you give me, I have Italian sausage fingers. So.
Right, so that's that's not even a half finger.
Well, if you give me $500, I'll pour you more.
So what's the price? You did mention it being announced what the price was, but you didn't say what the price was.
Yeah, $500
for the bottle.
And they also released a rye, which I heard is unbelievable too.
I know I got to take a big drink of water. To
also for $500
myself.
Where's the rye from? Is it also from Wild Turkey?
I don't know the stats, but it's also Wild Turkey.
Is it okay?
Yeah, these are Pride of Anderson County. So Anderson County is where Wild Turkey sits.
Where Wild Turkey is, yeah.
So this is Wild Turkey distillate.
Gotcha. I'm going to drink some water
legs,
first,
man, for
beforehand.
sure. I did the same.
So
it's not even legs. That's just like a coating of the glass. It's so thick.
So that's going to be the one thing I'll tell you. I won't tell you anything else. But the one thing that's going to stand out to you about this bourbon is how ridiculously thick and viscous it is.
I can like I said, those aren't
Yeah,
legs.
tell me
That's just like
nothing.
a coating
I wanna-
of the glass.
So what's the more in-depth detail
the nose
on
is good.
this brand? And are they just sourcing from Wild Turkey, or are they?
Yes.
Was this a
Yeah.
one-time release, or is this going to be a?
So that's what I don't know yet. I haven't really taken a deep enough dive with David on.
which I think was more what you were asking.
If we're
right?
going to see more of these coming out,
Yeah.
I would assume so, because these did sell out.
Oh, wow.
So they.
You know what I would love to see
At
is
that price point too. So that's
is
impressive.
a brand that sources, but they only source like a high end bourbon, but it's from different companies. Like they could go out and get a 20-year Michter's, and then the next release it's a
that's
18-year-old
that's a good
Buffalo
point.
Trace product.
That's a good
you know what I
point.
mean?
That's really what Rare Character has done since they
that's
started.
rare character. Yeah.
Rare Character has sourced some really. I mean, they were sourcing Bardstown Bourbon Company rye single barrels before anyone else had even access to it.
Yeah.
So when you saw those Rare Character ryes, it was the Bardstown Bourbon Company rye distillate at barrel proof, which nobody else was getting.
Have they? What's the other distilleries they've done?
They've done Heaven Hill. They did. They released some. They have this thing called the Exceptional Series, where they release some Heaven Hill malt whiskey distillate at barrel proof, which is insanely weird and good stuff. They've sourced a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like think about a brand. That,
obviously,
you know,
MGP.
Yeah.
So
it would be. I mean, like if that's what they're doing, obviously, and I think they have higher prices ish. But it would be so crazy that if all of their MSRP stuff was $300 to $500, and you were just buying like the best of the best barrel proofs and stuff, you'll never get a barrel proof in, just one-off single barrel stuff. That'd be like really, really cool.
And to your point, the fact that this is a barrel proof Wild Turkey product.
Yes.
How often does that happen?
yeah, I mean,
Has there been a Master's Keep that's been barrel proof?
it's a good question.
There's been a
Actually,
bonded.
I
There's been the.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Russell's 13 is apparently barrel proof.
Oh, is it? And what was its proof?
I think it's a 116.
Okay, so we're in the same.
in the same realm.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, that's thick like peanut butter.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I get a
The
lot
nose
of
on this is
vanilla.
insane.
Vanilla for 13 and a half
This
years
might
old.
be one of the best Viscosity I've
Yeah.
ever had.
The vanilla on this is insane. On the nose.
You feel like you're eating this.
on the
get-
nose.
There's a touch of a chocolate in the background on this for the nose too. For me,
I was going to say more like a cacao.
I don't know what's worth
Yeah,
$500.
it's like
like a
it's a dark
baking
chocolate.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I could not tell you what's worth $500.
So this is a
I couldn't either.
$500
I mean,
bottle?
it's a personal
$500
preference
Really?
that I just
$5
wouldn't pay
$2.25
that.
with tax and shipping.
it's rough. So if you think about it, like you could get 5 Russell's Reserve amazing picks, or one of these.
You'd get 6 or 7 Russell's picks at $70
Well,
or $80 each.
I'm just talking about like shipping and everything. They come up to about
If you get
90.
the case discount.
If you get 6 of them for $480, you're still cheaper than that. And
I mean, that's really the kind of the caveat with this,
Yeah.
though. I mean, but also Russell's picks
13
aren't
years.
normally 13 and a half years old. This is
Nor are
older.
they barrel proof.
This is older than most of the latest Master's Keep set is released.
higher proof.
Higher proof, older than most of the Russell's picks you're going to find.
But Russell's 13.
Listen, you
have
don't have to
Russell's
sell.
13,
It's already
but-
sold out. You don't have to keep
Yeah.
selling it.
So that's the thing. So I tried this live last week, and I got a comment from a guy saying, like, he's like, you complain about the prices on a lot of stuff, but you're unwilling to knock the price for Pride of Anderson County. Pick a side. I'm like, I am picking a side. The side is I'm not gonna run this bourbon into the ground
Just because it's expensive.
Because it's expensive. I'll be honest.
There's
I have
two sides
I
to it.
I have a personal connection with David Jennings. We both love Wild Turkey. He's already gotten enough flack for the prices on this. I'm not going to pile on. He knows that the price is stupid high. It's not his call. This is all Rare Character.
Well, but even-
probably, who knows what the barrels cost. There's a
Yeah.
lot of factors that
Probably
go
an
in.
insane amount for that barrel.
Yeah. So I'm not, both sides have to, you have your sides that have to make money. So that there's another attack on there. There's a lot of factors that play into the pricing of that.
Let me ask you this: How
And it's always
often-
going to be more with a small company.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
How often does Wild Turkey source out barrels like this?
More than you would think.
Really?
Yeah.
Like to who? For example.
Bardstown Bourbon Company.
So they source some of their barrels to Barcelona.
If you ever see the
for like their
Discovery
fusions
series,
and Discovery or whatever.
Series.
Discovery
Series uses turkey.
Didn't know
Really?
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they have two mash bills. So the turkey mash bill and the Jim Beam mash bill are actually the same.
Okay.
They both use 13% rye. But so sometimes when you see those two different mash bills on the one label, at least one of them is turkey. Sometimes it's
one will be Kentucky, one will be
Discovery
Tennessee.
Series 11, I think, is all Kentucky distillate, and it is, I think 70% of it is wild turkey. That's why I love it so much. So if you haven't had Discovery 11 yet, and you
Is
love
that
turkey,
is that the current one?
that's the one. That's the newest one. That's gonna. I don't even think it's dropped in Ohio yet, but
Okay.
it should be soon.
All right.
That's the one you told me to get, the 11.
I told you if you could find Discovery 11, man, it is good.
This
Who else does Turkey source for like that?
that you're able to tell us.
I can't probably say who else.
So but you can't say a few others.
I only know one other location that does source from Turkey.
So Turkey
Obviously,
does a
rare
decent amount of
character.
sourcing then.
They
so
do. They do.
Okay. So I was not aware of that.
Sometimes by accident, which is interesting too.
how does so
I'll tell you later how that works.
okay. All right. That's fine. All right. This Anderson County, the pride of Anderson County, what do you think of this, Tyler? Is this your favorite of the night, or is it just
yeah,
for
easily,
sure.
easily.
There is definitely a level above the others.
And that's
think.
how these were outstanding. Every
all
single
of
one
them
of these,
were, right?
Yes, top to bottom, one of the better lineups I've
We've
ever
had.
had.
Yeah.
But this is just unreal.
What makes it stand out to you?
The viscosity and the complexity within it too.
Yeah.
It's not like for 13 years, it's not overly oaked. It lingers a long time. The proof for being relatively high, it doesn't show like at all.
Yeah.
But in a perfect amount. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I get that.
Do you want to prove it down? There's a water dropper. I'm kidding.
No, but you
I'm
can
kidding.
if you want to. Go ahead,
So good.
Brett. What do you think? What?
So, it's amazing. I'm a viscosity whore, so I love the viscosity on it.
God, he just threw that out there like it was nothing.
Yeah.
and it fit so well, but I still wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm huge on viscosity and mouthfeel.
Mouth experience.
Mouth experience.
Mouth experience.
Mouth
My
experience.
apologies. Mouth experience. It's an absolutely wonderful bottle. At $500, I don't know. So it's all about availability too. Like how easy was it? So yes, it was $500, but how easy is it to find? Like that's another question. So
this was just basically released through his Patreon, and also there was a select bunch of bottles released through Bourbon Outfitter, which was his distribution partner.
Okay.
So that's how you're able to get a bottle.
No,
You're
is
saying
Bourbon
there's
Outfitter,
one barrel versus
Isn't that
a continued release of something and a secondary costing at $500.
But like some of those
There's a
Russell's
difference.
13s that I've had have been unreal.
Yeah.
And so it's like you start to kind of get into this.
Yes.
It is right.
I know what you're asking.
What?
The one place.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Never mind.
Yeah, but I think it's switched. I think it's switched over. There's been some changes with that one.
Okay.
But Bourbon Outfitter and his Patreon was really the only ways to acquire the bottles.
And it sold out,
And
so-
you had to sign up for a lottery if you were willing to pay the price. So when your name was picked, you immediately got an email like you have been selected.
And if you didn't
Here's
pay,
your bill.
Then it went on
And
to like
here's
someone else.
To the
you
next
owe
guy.
$525. Order it today.
Yeah, and
Yikes.
that's a steep price for
Yikes.
sure. And like I said, you could potentially get 3 Russell's 13s if you can find them at retail, right? Which you may not find them. Probably
Well, you're
won't
not going
find
to
them.
find them at retail.
Yeah.
But so, okay, hot take for me. I enjoyed this Sanderson County. I think I enjoyed your pick better.
Really?
Yeah,
Of the Russells, this one?
because of the finish. I think the finish was more complex than this one. The viscosity on this is through the roof. I agree with that. I
mouth
love
experience.
it. The mouth experience is amazing. The way it finishes in my mouth is just outstanding. But I honestly think the finish of your pick is better than this one, and I would be able to sit with your pick longer throughout the
I
evening.
get what you're saying. I understand what
The
you're saying.
viscosity is amazing. The flavors are amazing from this. I'm not knocking anything from this. It tastes great, but I honestly think I like your Russell's pick better.
The flavor lasts longer
On
than
the
other.
Russell's pick.
But the
Yeah.
viscosity lasts longer on this one.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I would probably. I don't know if I would. I think it's a different type of finish. I think the Pride of Anderson
is.
County finishes with the complexity that I get in the front of the palate. However, I will say it does last long, the finish on Pride of Anderson County. However, it doesn't leave that super heavy, baking, spicy, tingly feeling that I think the pick does.
Agreed.
And I think that's the big difference.
It is.
The sip I just finished with is still lingering, but it's a different one.
It's not that it's not lingering. It's not that
it's a different type of finish.
It is a different type of finish. That's all I'm saying. And I think that I prefer.
To be clear, we're splitting hairs.
We
here,
are.
You know what I mean?
Listen, it's outstanding.
That's the cool thing we get to do.
But I think to Brett's point, price wise, I'd rather have the Russells. Like if you want to break it down for value per dollar, your
ounce.
Russell's pick is it's not even close at that point.
The value is tough. I agree,
but I don't even think it's tough. I think it's not even close.
Yeah.
If you want to go value per ounce, like he just said, I think your pick blows this out of the water. Value per ounce. If you were to be given a drink of this for free of both, and you didn't have any money invested in either one of these, I think it's a toss-up depending on what type of finish you prefer.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, and I think that's generally what people were saying, about Russell's Picks versus Pride of Anderson County, or POAC, as they kind of say it in short. I mean, it is an absolutely phenomenal bourbon.
It is, and I taste the turkey in it.
Yeah,
the turkey's there.
The turkey's
there's
there.
There's a dusty
there's
peanut.
a little bit of a dustiness to
just
it.
a little bit, but it's there. I taste it. There's
spice. There's also
the turkey signature is there.
That underlying candy that you get is in there too.
Yeah,
it's all over the place. It goes
it
up
is.
and down.
Agreed, but $500 or $525. That's a tough pill to swallow.
It is.
I did that with that freaking Boss Hog or whatever that was.
Oh, you got the new one?
No, the one.
But you did buy a Boss
the Philippine.
Oh yeah,
rum finish one.
That's the one that I bought.
Yeah, and I bought it. I bought it the same as you did.
Yeah.
And it was good. It just not $500.
You still have it, or is it cash?
I still have it. No, fuck.
Well,
everyone's
I should cash it just to make room for more
Everyone's
stuff.
going crazy for the bicentennial Boss Hog, the number 10 that's out, which has some of the weirdest finishes I've ever seen. It is really weird.
They're going crazy because they like it.
Well, they're calling it the since it's 10, it's like the 10 Commandments. So it's like they're like it's like finished,
10 different finishes.
It's like made with like a grain of with myrrh and like frankincense and all this. Yeah, dude, I'm seriously, it's crazy stuff in it.
That's funny.
If you look it up, that's what they actually utilize. Then I think there's another finish wrapped onto it that I can't think of it, but I've already seen those bottles on secondary for like $6.25. So
I mean, you can't mark them up much.
You
they're
can't.
already expensive.
I think they're already $600. So.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Let's dig into the one.
Yeah. Let's finish with the Wild Turkey
one.
Is the only one.
You haven't visited this in a while. Give us a little bit of feedback or a little history on your take on the Wild Turkey one as I start to open this one up.
Well, my assessment when I reviewed Master's Keep 1, it's a toasted Wild Turkey. So it's it's a toasted turkey, which is kind of nice for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, toasted turkey.
Yeah, toasted turkey.
However, that's why I pulled it out, of course.
Yeah. Wild Turkey 1 was also the same year that Russell's 13 debuted, and I thought when I tasted both of them that the Russell's 13 should have been the Master's Keep, and the Wild Turkey 1 should have been the, $90 or $80 or $90, Russell's 13 release, because
that's what I remember the most. I think from your review,
the difference was night and day, and I just did not think that the Master's Keep 1 was a worthy Master's Keep whiskey. However, as time has gone on, we have seen that Master's Keep has become a little bit more experimental, and in terms of experimentality, I think it works. It is what it is. But toasted bourbons have never really been my favorite. What about you, Tyler?
Don't you like the topper on this, though?
I do.
What about
toasted bourbon?
I
was in Michigan at a Costco for a tailgate.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, I forget that they
Wait,
have...
what? You were at a Costco for a tailgate?
I was in Costco in Michigan getting stuff for a tailgate.
Getting stuff for... Okay.
Yes.
That's not what you said.
For a tailgate.
So I was confused.
For a tailgate.
You said you were at Costco in Michigan for a tailgate. I'm like...
Isn't that... I was going to say that topper is crazy.
The topper is heavy.
And I forgot that they had the liquor, so I was just going up and down.
It's like the Lux 12 topper.
Yeah, it is. It's similar to that, yeah. I will say the one thing Masters Keep does from a bottle and product perspective, it's
And, like the box, too.
heavy duty. It's got a nice presentation. The stopper is always ridiculous. That kind of thing. There's something to be said about that, but again, it doesn't. At the end of the day, it doesn't add to the flavor.
So, so they had Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel for $55, and
That's ridiculously priced. What is it normally, like 75, 80?
yeah, I was like, I'll buy that all fucking day.
Did you get one?
Yeah,
How many did you buy?
just one.
Was it
my
limit one?
buddy bought one?
Oh, the
it-
Michter's?
was it
I
limit-
thought they had
No,
a
no,
limit.
no.
Limit one.
You said Elijah Craig, right?
Elijah Craig
Oh,
Toasted.
okay, I'm sorry.
It was limit one.
Yeah, limit one.
I was going to say
50
because Brett would be pissed if you bought one and didn't get one for him.
Yeah, I mean, at that price, I'll
do
buy them
love
all
those.
the fucking time. I see them anywhere from like $70 to like $90,
Right.
as high as $100. So
Yeah, me too. I've seen
was
him. I've seen him there.
$55, I'll buy that all fucking.
You
day,
remember back in
man.
the day, I traded like two Weller Antiques or something
Yeah.
for one. Like,
Yeah.
fuck that.
Well, and you know what's funny is when we go to Evan Williams, generally speaking, they
Yeah.
have it behind the counter. Almost always. Every time I've been there, they've had the toasted behind the counter.
Which toasted?
Elijah Craig.
you see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
The one thing I like that toasted does is sometimes it could add some really nice viscosity to a whiskey because you just get like those extra,
Yeah.
those extra,
Barrel notes.
esters from the toasted cask into the whiskey. I think that could work really nicely.
you know what I find interesting is that you still haven't poured any toasted one into your.
I'm finishing my POAC.
Yeah.
I was sad to finish that. I had a little bit, and I'm like, do I want to just do it? Just finish
You know
it.
what? I mean, I've enjoyed all the way back to the Wild Turkey 101.
Was there water somewhere?
Right here, you can take some of that if you
Hey,
want.
speaking of birds,
Bird.
the Michigan
What?
friends,
Turkey, bird, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Michigan friends
The stretch.
really loved roosters, which I'm telling you, it's
Roosters is fine.
it's
Rooster's chicken?
just the wings. Yeah, Roosters, the restaurant.
Roosters is good.
I
It's,
dig the
it's
Roosters.
not better than any Cameron Mitchell restaurant, but for
it's
like
the best
price
Ohio
point,
product.
Cameron Mitchell is an Ohio product.
I know, but
Is Roosters a Cameron Mitchell restaurant chain?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he thinks
Never mind.
Roosters is a better Ohio product than Cameron Mitchell.
It's. I don't think you realize.
I don't think you realize how
But isn't
fucking
that
good it
stupid
is.
you
Isn't
are.
that apples
There's-
and oranges though?
Yes.
It kind of
yes.
is. It kind of
100%
is.
apples and oranges.
You're talking
I kind
like
of is.
fine,
Roosters is like a-
finish dining.
Yeah, but
versus like bar food,
like
in
a sports
way.
pub.
But this is what I mean. There
I
are.
agree. I
there
enjoy
there are
Roosters.
probably other restaurateurs that have their own line that are equally as good as Cameron Mitchell. I bet Cameron Mitchell's up there as far as restaurant lines. They probably are. But Roosters, as far as a sit down wings place, bar, sports
That's a
bar,
chain.
That's a chain. I don't think it gets better than that in the U.S.
Listen, that statement I agree with.
It's a 9 out of 10 in that statement where
I agree with
B-dubs
that
is a
statement.
fucking 3.
B-dubs
Yeah,
is
B-dubs
terrible.
sucks.
It's a 3.
B-dubs is terrible. Their chicken is terrible. Their
So
sauces
there
aren't
might
as
be
good.
one-off places around the country that have wings and stuff like that, but there's not a
Sure.
chain.
No,
That's
no.
a
You know who's got
bar.
who's got some underrated boneless wings? Applebee's.
Really?
It's really good.
I haven't been to an Applebee's in probably like 15 years. I'm
They have
not
Same,
such a
same
good
with
exaggerating.
me. And
They
then
have such
Hey,
a good sampler.
I'll go to Applebee's with you.
Let's go, buddy. There's one right by my
That's
house.
the fattest food ever, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
What?
Applebee's?
Samplers.
Oh,
Just
hey,
appetizer samplers.
does anyone know that movie? I want to go to Applebee's with you.
No.
I feel like I've heard it.
sounds familiar. I can't.
Couples retreat. John Favreau's wife.
Oh, wow, I haven't seen
That's
that
a
in
good
while.
movie.
John Favreau's wife. They're like they go to the place and they're like venturing out from each other.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, you realize that they really want to be together. It's just that they don't talk.
Yeah.
And then he loves Applebee's. She wants to go to Applebee's with him, and that's like one of the lines. I want to go to Applebee's.
I
with
want
you.
to go to Applebee's with you.
Like it's just it's a funny movie. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. I agree.
And the Guitar Hero scene is great with
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's a
cool.
good one.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Wild Turkey 1. This is 101 proof. So it's, Wild Turkey 101 basically, but it's toasted. This is the Master's Keep from, 2 years ago?
I think so.
2 or 3.
2, I think.
I think
No,
3
3 years ago.
It'll be 3.
It'll
No,
be 3.
It was 2021.
We had Voyage.
It was
this
2021.
year, Voyage this year. Last year was Unforgotten, and then 1 was before that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
2021.
So 21.
So it's
21. Ha
21.
Hey-o.
All right, let's nose this.
The nose
Smells like
The nose definitely. Oh my God! Stop your shit.
I tell you
Stop
what,
your pretentious wild turkey bullshit.
It's kind of hard. It's hard to drink this after drinking what we just did.
I don't think so. It's more of a dessert. It's a toasted.
Yeah, I actually think you could see how much more sweet it is
Woo.
coming off that.
Yeah.
It really is sweet.
There's a lot of sweetness to it.
That's marshmallow all day.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. I get I get a campfire like marshmallow on the nose. I haven't drank it yet.
Nice.
It's like a nice
fall.
like post Thanksgiving Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah. Same thing on the palate.
This guy.
What?
I
think you nailed it. It is toasted marshmallows,
And
Rice Krispie treat.
It's a Rice Krispie
to
treat,
your
man.
point, I don't think this was a $200+ bottle dollar-wise.
I would have liked to see it come out in like a $64 bottle like Elijah Craig toasted it.
Yeah. If that were the case, this would be hands down outstanding.
Absolutely.
Well, is there anything about it that they rightfully can, beside it being toasted, like, is it high proof? Is it?
It's
is
101.
it aged?
101
It's 101, I think, from what I remember, it's a 10-year-old bourbon.
Now, toasted Elijah Craig toasted is 94, right? 94.
94.
Yeah.
So I mean, so there's that. It's
And
got
it's
a little
about
bit of
8
a
years, I
it's-
think.
Yeah. So I mean,
8.
it's a little bit of a leg up on that, but flavor wise and taste profile wise, it's right there with Elijah Craig. So I think, as you said, Jason, I think price wise, if it was in that just sub 100, it would be a
Even
much better
120.
product.
Even 120, I would pay.
Yeah,
Which I have one,
This was
obviously,
what,
but-
225? Is that what
I
we
think it
ended
was
up paying?
200. I thought.
This is
So after tax, like 220.
includes 9, 10, and 14-year-old bourbons. However, we don't know what
how
those
much.
We don't know
Yeah.
what those proportions,
proportions
are.
are. Yeah.
But yeah.
No, and again, I like this a lot, but the price point for it is what made it a hard pill to swallow. And I think that's where you come from, Jason, on this, is when you hate on this as much as you do. Like, not that you hate it, but if you had this in a blind and had no idea what the price was, you'd probably think it was okay.
I probably think it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like in my head, I just have like this, this.
But your
this
argument
vision
with the
of
Russell's
what-
13 that year and everything, I think that makes sense. The
Yeah.
Russell's 13 should have been the Master's Keep that year.
Yeah.
And this should have been
Don't
like
get me
a
wrong.
special release.
Don't get me wrong. I love that Russell 13 is an annual release.
Yeah.
And the prices,
Yeah.
even secondary wise, have come down a lot.
But had they released it as a Master's Keep and said, oh, shit, let's do this every year,
yeah,
you would have been okay with that too,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get your argument there.
Yeah.
But as far as just,
But being a different,
blind,
different
no-
take
no
on a
vol-
turkey, it's
and
pretty good.
no understanding of the price, I think this stands up as a decent, almost like a dessert bourbon.
I will say this: when I had this on its own after the fact,
Yeah.
like when I didn't have it in a blind and stuff like that, I think this whiskey I enjoy it more on its own. Like tonight,
Yeah.
we've had some incredible whiskey, so this is falling flat for me. But
The
on
finish
its own,
is flat for sure, but
on
it's-
its own, though, I could see this like that dessertiness that it has.
Yeah.
It could be a real like hit for some people.
Yeah.
And I think I enjoy it better. I just think there's some bourbons that should be enjoyed on its own, not thrown into a blind. Everyone is so quick to compare.
I get
and
that.
I get that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to appreciate the bourbon for what it is. I think this is a good example. I also think probably the number one example this year was the Maker's Mark Cellar Aged.
Yeah.
Anytime I put that
Good
bourbon,
point. That's a
anytime
good
I
point.
put that bourbon in a blind, it has last, and it's not even close. But I enjoy it on its own. Like
Yeah.
on its own, it's just
when we had it that night, it was good.
it just has these different dusty toffee flavors, some
Yeah.
age to it. It works really well, but for some reason, anytime I put Maker's Mark Cellar Age in a blind, it just never does well. And I'm not sure.
When I
quite
wonder,
why.
we enjoyed it the day we had it, but we had it with a whole bunch of Old Forester 117
Yes.
series.
Yeah.
So I wonder if because it's such a different profile, a Zig versus a Zag or whatever.
Like I've
but-
had it. Like I would have liked to see your take on it, just like drinking nothing else.
Yeah.
I think you would have even enjoyed it more.
Oh, I'm sure I would have. I like Maker's Mark generally,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm sure I would have. But that's a great point. I think when you've had things against other things, it definitely plays a huge part in your overall.
Speaking of a bottle that's kind of like that, in my opinion, this week at the tailgate
Yeah.
for the OSU Michigan State
Yeah.
game. So
Here-
this
here's
is,
you're gonna
a
piss
funny
him
story.
off.
yeah, I'm going to piss him off, but it's okay.
Depends what it is.
I am very
He's going to piss you off.
I'm very understanding of this. So
it's not Bland's. I'll say that.
It's not Bland's.
Okay.
So this weekend
You already got me good.
it's Michigan State, Ohio State.
Yeah.
We went in the morning.
Nice.
To grab stuff to tailgate. And I really didn't realize what day it was, what time it was.
Release day, Giant Eagle and Kroger.
Giant Eagle release day and whatever.
Had
and I
a
was
huge release just this past weekend.
Yeah.
They had so much stuff came out.
That's what I was about to tell you.
So I was in there. It was probably like 11 o'clock maybe.
Yeah. So a couple hours after they opened.
And a couple hours after, I'm like, oh fuck, I need we had all of our beer and whatever. I'm like, you know what? I should have a pint of something like Wild Turkey 101. You know what I mean? And the Giant Eagle and Powell, they have a split counter.
A pint.
Yeah.
Right.
For myself,
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they have the split counter.
Proceed.
You may proceed. So I was like, oh, let me go ask if they I was like, oh, fuck, it's drop day. Let me go ask if they have anything from this morning.
Yep.
So I go up there, and because I saw him like wrapping something up for a guy, and I'm like, let me go peruse over there.
Peruse.
So I asked him, I'm like, do you have anything left over from this morning? He's like, yeah, this list. And I was like, oh, you have Elijah Craig 18 year? He's like, yeah, we still have a bottle. I was like, what's the price? And he's like, $159. I'm like, I've never in my life seen it at retail.
For that price, yeah. Right.
And again, is it worth the secondary? Never, in my opinion.
No, but listen,
my opinion on AH18 has changed. EC18.
It has.
It has.
Because you used to hate it.
Because I got a bottle that tasted like shit.
Well, it's single barrel.
Yeah.
I
It's single
understand.
barrel.
I understand that, but it took me a few bottles to try to finally find. Okay, this is why I see some people love this bottle.
Yeah.
Because it was a really good single barrel. Unfortunately, the single barrel I got was
Bad one.
extreme. It wasn't that it was bad. It just was
Over
It was over
Over-oaked.
oaked and it was flat.
Yeah.
There was no.
I did not think it was
It was
flat.
good.
No,
it was
the
good.
one you had
Yours was good.
Yes.
Okay.
We all ended up at his tailgate.
Nice. That's
And
awesome.
the bottle was emptied.
Fucking bottle.
That's
closed.
awesome.
And I think
we
I had
bottled-
the last.
You
of
had the.
it.
I
You
saved
did,
the
you
last
did.
sip for you.
Thank you.
But
that was outstanding. It
I
a
was
good
like,
sip.
it's a really good bottle. A lot of my friends enjoy bourbon. They're not like enthusiasts by any means, but they'll drink stuff neat.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, we're all together. You guys are down from Michigan. I had a buddy from Nashville. I had a buddy from California in. And I was like, we're gonna enjoy this. And we crushed the bottle that day.
I just remember you telling me you were
That's
like,
awesome.
I told them all
So
like,
we bought it that morning and they killed it that
Killed
day.
it that day.
That's
you were like, you can't mix it with Coke. You can put ice in it, but you're not mixing it with.
I was
Coke.
like, I normally don't give a fuck how you have your stuff. But this one,
You're drinking.
yeah, someone else might have had like a pint or something of like Jim Beam or Jack Daniels, something like that. I forget what it is. And I was like, the other stuff you put in Coke, this you got to drink it straight.
So I was, and you were at the same tailgate
Yeah.
as I was, Brett. And this will be the last story, I think, unless you have something to add. But so I was at another tailgate. We went and visited his tailgate because it was all Michigander. So we were just there briefly. But and it was Ohio State versus Michigan State, so we didn't want to spend too much time over there. The place I came from, they always it's a pretty big tailgate. The place I go to, they've got their own porta johns. It's the longest running tailgate at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And it's their 30th or 31st anniversary
they had
this
a
year.
30th anniversary sign up. I saw it.
But I think that's an old sign.
Oh, okay.
I
Could
think
be.
it's like their 31st now. Anyway, so they always have a bar. They have a bartender. Like this game, they had what was the drink they had? Spartan Piss.
Spartan Piss.
Yeah, which was good. So they always make a drink, for that game.
Yeah.
And we were playing the Spartans, so that whatever. Every game though, like that we go down there, they have a bottle of bourbon behind the bar. Some like 1 week it was Ezra 99. Which is, decent,
okay,
whatever. If you're going to have a big, huge, whatever,
That's 99 solid.
it's solid, yeah.
I put it right up there with like Evan Williams 1783.
Right, exactly. So it's cheap, but it's good, and it's actually pretty sweet too,
Yeah,
which
it
is
does,
nice.
does the job.
And then this week they had Bullet, and so I go up,
I like Bullet.
and I'm actually toasty at the point. I'm pretty. I just come back from your tailgate. I'd taken that Lux Row No, that was Bourbon Enthusiast that they gave me the sample after the Luxro tasting.
Oh, very
But
nice.
they were a week apart, yours and his.
Uh-huh.
So I took the rest of my sample, and it was a big, 200 milliliter bottle, flask looking thing.
Yeah.
And so I finished that, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing!"
Yeah.
And but it was the weeded. It wasn't Ezra Brooks. It was
it was the Rebel.
So anyway, I cashed that. Went to your thing. Had some of your Elijah Craig 18. Came back, and I'm like, well, I wonder what they had behind the bar. It's probably some Ezra Brooks. They had Bullet, and it was a big-ass fucking thing of Bullet. Huge.
Nice.
I'd never seen a Bullet that big.
Nice.
And so I'm like, oh, hey, can you... She's like, what do you want with this? And I'm like, just neat. She pours the rest of the bottle.
Oh, God.
And it was pretty, like you talked about giving me 3 fingers, but it was like a half of your fingers. It was like 4 of your fucking sausage fingers into my cup.
Yes.
For the holidays, our next podcast
Jesus, here we go.
should be a
Don't let
gift
me
giving
finish.
one. No,
Should be a
yours
what?
just a gift giving one. Like let's find
A
6
gift
bottles. No, like what we recommend if you're gifting
you're
bottles
saying.
for the
I like
holiday.
that.
Bottle
That's fine.
gift,
So many people are like, "What do I get this
We've
person?"
done
I wanna
that.
get
We
them
did that 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think we should do that again. That's good.
something
That's good.
available.
Let's
It's
do that.
under $50,
And we should have gifts for each other.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Little
it.
gifts, minimum of
500. 500.
500 minimum.
Minimum of 525. That's it.
Yeah, no, there's none of that left, bro.
I'm just messing. No, I think that's
That's
fine.
a great idea.
I like your idea. Let's do that. But to finish my story, before I was rudely,
you were telling a
before I
story.
was rudely interrupted.
You're always telling the story, yeah.
So, but
He's always telling a
She
story.
filled up my cup, and I'm not kidding. That solo cup got like half full, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I finished it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did.
I know you did.
I
I know you did.
because you saw me later that night.
But I also left that and had more at the bar.
The best part though is Trina when we go to I fill up a 16-ounce water bottle with vodka. I put a V on top of it with a Sharpie so that there's no confusion that it's water or vodka.
Smart.
And so we take it to the tailgate. When we came home, I woke up on Sunday morning and I came into the kitchen. It had maybe a finger left in that 16-ounce bottle.
A finger.
Ugh.
And so you saw
Not a finger.
when
Not a finger.
Not a finger.
Christmas story.
Yes.
Uh,
That's
so
what I said.
Nailed it.
we met you at Penn's later that evening, and I bought her a Tito's and on the rocks. Come over to visit you. Go back to her. She had already spilled it
Oh no.
on the person in front of her, and so
Oh no.
so here's the best part. I ordered an old fashioned and a Tito's for her. I accidentally shoplifted at Kroger like 2 weeks ago. I don't even know how I did that.
Accidentally.
No,
Got
it,
something
wa-
at the
it was
bottom of the
literally accidentally. I scanned everything in. I did everything but pay. I bagged it. I walked out, but a buddy of mine was sitting right next to me at the next self checkout register. We were talking the whole time, and I don't know how. I got home and I'm looking and I'm like, "Where's my receipt?" And then I look on my my app and I'm like, "Oh shit, it's not showing up on my app."
Pay for any of this.
And I didn't pay for it. Now, granted, it was like $25, so they're not like, but it was like, holy shit, I just
still feel
shoplifted.
bad,
Yeah, I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And so, and then we go to Penn's a week and a half later, and I order those 2 drinks. I'm sitting around waiting for our bill. The guy never comes back, and Trina's like, "We got to go home." She's like, "I'm not feeling the greatest. We got to go home." Now, after she's had like 15 ounces of that 16-ounce bottle of vodka, I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And so I walk out without paying.
At Pins.
It depends, yeah. And they did normally when I buy a drink there, they ask for your card right away,
yeah.
and they didn't do that. And I never saw the like. I honestly waited around for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Just the bartender.
And
gets
I
busy
just-
or-
Yeah, they're busy and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Unfortunately, yeah.
I was not, and it wasn't the bartender; it was a waiter.
Oh, with waiter.
And he never came back and asked for a bill. He never asked for my card, nothing. And I'm just like, we gotta go. And she wasn't waiting for that
No, when your
So-
wife's like, I gotta get home.
Yeah.
Like, you get home.
Yeah, and so
You get home.
You
you get home, and so like I've accidentally shoplifted, and I've now accidentally drank and dashed.
Love it.
So yeah, I was like, "Fuck, man, what's going on here? What's going on with my life? Where am I at right now?" But anyway,
So our next couple of ones, we'll do, obviously our trip.
well, next week is drink. We're going to do Still Austin, a couple of cowboy whiskeys from Texas.
Oh, boy.
Along with Elijah Craig 2023. Spoiler:
You mean C923?
the Elijah Craig barrel proofs
Yeah,
from 2023.
C923.
Oh, all three of them? Nice.
Well, two of them.
Two of them.
We didn't have A.
I could bring you A.
Well, we've already recorded.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
I meant to ask you about it, but I forgot, and I was like, well, whatever.
All right.
I keep forgetting to. I keep not wanting to like. Okay, what else can I get from Jason? What else? So I don't want to do that.
Don't
all
ever
the-
think like that.
I
Just
know, but
ask.
it's just horrible. You were always bringing over like stuff like tonight that pride of Anderson
Doesn't
County.
matter. I mean, it just.
I know how you feel. You're
I
just
need help
like
drinking
me.
it.
You're just like me with that, but I still feel bad asking. That's all.
I get it.
But anyway, that's what's going to be next week, and then the week after we'll start talking about Christmas stuff, gift ideas. I think that's a great idea.
It's a good idea.
It's a
Agreed.
great idea.
Best bourbons with best Christmas movies.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, you know what you talked about? This could be on the air. Coming over to your house, watching a Christmas movie, and
Christmas.
just drinking.
I'm going to bring up a bunch of bottles, put them on the island, and then we watch Christmas Vacation or whatever it may be.
Whatever.
that.
Christmas Vacation is
what,
great.
What was the one that he didn't see ever? Wasn't there?
I mean, Christmas
Oh, no.
Vacation's one of my all-time favorite
Mine
movies
too.
of all
Mine
time.
too.
No, we'll watch that and have some bourbon.
Yeah. No recording. Just
Yeah,
hang out.
Just hang out.
Just
Yeah,
hang
we
out.
could
Let's do that. Let's do that. Not next. We'll do our episode next, and then we'll do your.
What we should do? We should do all the bourbons, watch the movie, and then record.
I mean, we can do that.
That could be a mess.
I'm fine with that.
Just
I'm unemployed.
An existential look into
The
Christmas
Bourbon Hunters
Vacation,
and
and we
Mash
break it down.
Drum.
And
Right.
we break it down.
So Cousin Eddie here. What do you mean?
So what Cousin Eddie means?
I
here.
like it. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining in. This was a little bit of a longer episode, but I think you'll find it was worth it. If you're driving off to some sort of Thanksgiving miracle or whatever it is, family, listen to this instead of arguing with your family.
Yeah. And again, holidays are made for sharing your whiskeys. So get out the best
and
stuff.
arguing with your family.
And arguing with your family, of course. So argue,
Burning bridges.
because you're going to need to sip in order to survive the argument. So you might as
100%.
well.
And we've
Yeah.
given you some ideas on what to
That's right.
bring.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining in, and we'll talk to you next week. Next week, like I said, that's still Austin and Elijah Craig barrel proofs from 2023, minus the A. And then the week after, we'll do some gift stuff for Christmas. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us on yet another hunt for great bourbon. Please give us a 5-star review anywhere you are listening. But if you can't, leave some constructive criticism in the review so that we can get better at improving our show. Good reviews help us bring better guests on for your listening pleasure, not mine. But until then, sit back, grab a pour, kick up your feet, and enjoy some bourbon.